the last time when we did our 25th anniversary special about how relationships impact your health. Um,
Yes.
well, and I told you guys, I gave you a little teaser that we were going to have Dr. Lance Maddox with us for the next show, talking about the counter opposite, basically, how a relationship negatively impacted him. So he wrote a book about it, and we've got the book with us today. A matter of fact, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's got a very interesting title that we will have to censor. but, but it aptly captures what Andre and I were talking about. The name of the book is called "The Mind F Word: a true false story." And so because you wanted, a part two for the 25th anniversary special, Andre, the graciously, and my husband does not like the spotlight, decided to help me out with this one because this is basically uh how do we put it, an extreme example of the opposite of what we were talking about, but I think at the same point it drives it home how important it is to your overall well-being to be connected, with the right people in your life. So it'll be, I believe, a very interesting conversation. And as a matter of fact, um, I want to thank Dr. Maddox for being so brave about telling his story because the boys, he's going to do both this show and the boys up next, following us. And so we read his book together as a family. It was a very, very interesting time. Look, the boys were calling for story time. Okay, they were like, "Let's keep going." you know, at first they were like, okay, how many chapters we got to read a night to finish this by the time for the interview? So they had, okay, we got to do 2 chapters a night. That's okay. We were doing like 3 or 4 chapters a night simply because they didn't want to stop reading. So it was now. For those of you out there listening, our children are 18 and 16 respectfully. So do not read this with your toddlers. And even then, we Andrea and I decided to read when it was time to give a literal blow by blow of what was going on between
I was,
Dr. Maddox and his love interest, but still, we can censor it. Even though if it were just them on their own, they probably would have just read it straight through. But us still being old fashioned parents, we were like, nah, we gonna tone that part down. But at the same time, if you got older kids, especially kids who are, really into being online and curious about online dating, we really do recommend that you read this book. It's a teachable moment, if nothing else. It's a teachable moment. But it was awesome family time for us. We had a good time together reading the book. And I would just say, Dr. Maddox, um, everybody's stuck on chapter 2, so you may get a lot of questions about chapter 2 of your book. But anyway, William, if you get a chance to, you need to pick this up, and the listeners out there need to pick this up. It's a very, very good read, and I say that as somebody who doesn't like, nonfiction as much as fiction. Um, I was into the book. My husband and kids were into the book. It really was awesome. So William, your wish came true.
sounds fascinating. I can't wait. I'm going to step aside. Okay.
All right.
Enjoy the show. All right.
All right. We will do that. We hope the audience does too. For those of you who are new to the show, I'm Ann Wooten Taylor. I'm the CEO of Eating as an Act of Worship Ministries, and this is the Eating as an Act of Worship Ministries radio show. Eating as an Act of Worship Ministries is a nonprofit organization we teach the biblical principles about the body, dieting, exercising, and maintaining a healthy body for the glory of God. We do that through our 12-week health and fitness show, our health and fitness column, as well as our radio show. And that's just a few of the things that we do. One way that you could guys love for us to help you out every week is with our weekly motivation. So this week's motivation is entitled Don't Look Back. We often look back anyway on yesterday and notice every mistake with excruciating clarity. Although the time to make a different choice has passed, we still find ourselves fretting over what we should have done, over what could have been, and about the time we wasted. Accepting the fact that we failed to act, said the wrong thing, or didn't respond at the right moment is difficult, but inevitable. You can't turn back the clock to get a do over. You can only press forward and take the wisdom gleaned from the experience with you. Unfortunately, some people make the same errors repeatedly and struggle with the same regrets when they come full circle to, at the very least, a similar end. It's the same with health and fitness, just as it is with every other issue that presents itself in your life. Looking backwards into the rearview mirror, you clearly see how you walked right into temptation when you accepted a lunch invitation with the friend who always sabotages your diet plan. Likewise, the flashing neon exit sign directing you to the way of escaping temptation not to work out looms larger than life in hindsight, but it seemed as dim as a nightlight when you chose to ignore it. Guilt may have consumed you all last week because you broke your promise to never be entangled with an eating disorder again. If any of these scenarios ring true, I have good news for you. Get a second chance to get it right. It's not too late. You can start over today by purchasing your copies of the Eating as an Active Worship Workbook and the Eating as an Active Worship Teachers Edition online at Barnes& and Noble or Amazon.com. In the books, you'll learn the biblical principles about the body, dieting, exercising, and maintaining a healthy body for the glory of God. Don't forget to read our blog for motivation to stay healthy and fit through Christ. And follow us daily on Facebook, Threads, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram for recipes and diet and exercise tips. And tune into our syndicated radio show on iTunes, Spotify, The Narrative Matters, Studio W Buzz, and Victory, KVDW 100.9 FM, 95.3 FM, and 1530 AM in Little Rock for interviews and health and fitness trends. Lastly, please remember that we are a nonprofit organization, so make your tax-deductible donations to Eating as an Active Worship Ministries at www.eatingasanactiveworshipministries.org. All right, everybody, that's your motivation to stay healthy and fit this week. We hope and pray it encouraged you to stay the course if you've been doing well on your health and fitness journey, that it inspired you to get up and try again if you fell down somewhere along the way. And if you haven't been able to find a reason to get healthy and fit, we hope and pray that you were motivated today through Jesus Christ to take charge of your health and fitness. All right, folks. Now it's time for what you've been waiting for. We're going to talk to Dr. Lance Mannix. I've got two guests technically today because you guys know my husband is not a regular on the show, but he's back with me today for part two of our 25th anniversary special. But we also have joining us today to talk about the flip side of this, Dr. Lance Maddox. He was born and raised in Daytona Beach, Florida, and later served in the Navy. He's earned associate's degrees in arts and nursing, as well as a bachelor's degree in nursing, and he is a chiropractic doctor. He's currently pursuing his master's degree in nursing, and he's the father of two girls, two boys, and two grandchildren who call him Pop Pop. Welcome to the show, Dr. Maddox. We're glad to have you with us. Can't hear you. Are you there?
Thank you very much. Yes, yes, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well. And I want to thank my husband for doing this again because I know, baby, that you don't like being in front of the camera. He does everything behind the scenes, but thank you because I think a man's perspective is much needed for this. But Dr. Maddox, let me just give you a real quick overview of what we talked about. The last time we were on the show, we talked about how relationships can be beneficial. In particular, we talked about the health benefits of marriage, which um, longevity. There was we talked about it from that type of standpoint as well as other things, but longevity, better mental health, um, better lifestyle changes, and these are just in general. Not everybody, obviously, can say that this is their norm, but higher percentages. Let's put it that way. Better sleep, better insurance rates, and even a better immune system for those who have a healthy sex life. That was just some of the things that we talked about in general, and of course, we talked about how um, having a relationship can affect you overall, not just physically, mentally, emotionally, as well as spiritually. So your book fits right into that particular scenario. So we're gonna start out first of all with just getting you to tell us first of all a little bit more about yourself and how this all started. Just give us a quick recap on that.
You would like to know how the book started?
Well, we'd like to know about you, sort of the backdrop of what brought you to the point, to that particular point.
Okay. The backdrop. You know, born and raised in Daytona Beach. Son of a single parent. A lot of things that I had to learn throughout life was through trial and error. You
Mhm.
know, I'm far from perfect, but
Mhm.
I'm nowhere near the devil.
Right, right.
But I do try my best. So I try to learn from every situation, and but I try to do a lot of self reflection. I try to do a lot of self improvement, and with that, I learned that in order to work on me, I need to be with me and me
Mm.
only.
Mm.
When I was ready to take a honest step out there into the dating world, um, I did give it my all because I want the person that I'm with to give me their all.
Mhm.
And that is what I thought I found in this young lady.
Mhm.
Um, I was sadly mistaken.
Mhm.
I was bamboozled, hoodwinked, led
Right.
astray. All those
Right.
good words.
Right.
Um, that's to put it lightly. Um, but it made me. But what I noticed that in the areas that I thought I was strong, I wasn't, and that was my emotional intelligence and my strength and my resolve.
Mhm. Mhm.
She really pushed my limits.
Mm.
Um, I did get out of character,
Mhm.
and I had to basically wrangle myself in, hold
Mm.
myself down,
Mm.
and teach myself uh, this is not us.
Right.
This is not us. There was a lot of anger,
Mhm.
and the way that I knew how to deal with my anger, there is a lesson to be learned. That's what I believe, that whatever God puts us through is to learn a lesson.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
I struggled to find that lesson.
Mm.
So the only thing I could do was write down my feelings.
Mhm. Mhm.
I did not know how to process or express my feelings.
Mhm.
So what I did, I just started writing. I started
Wow.
writing about from the moment I met her until what was going on at that time. And it
Mhm.
turned out to be 9 pages. And
Mhm.
that 9 pages blossomed into this book.
Wow. Wow. Um, so the title is so interesting. I love
Yes.
titles. You know, people say you can't judge a book by its cover, but I do all the time. So, um, and titles really capture my attention. This one not just captures the attention, but it literally starts the process of the story before you even open the pages, because you are wondering what could have possibly happened to make you want to call whatever it was this. You know, I can't even say it
Yes.
because it's a Christian program. Um, but it makes you want to open the book and read it, because it's got to be bad if that's what you call the book. So why call it that?
Why
Why
call
the
it
title?
that? Because I had to be honest with me.
Mm,
I had to be honest with me. Um, I do feel there's no greater teacher than life.
mm,
And life comes at you very directly and a lot of times very ugly and
mm,
very matter of factly and frankly.
mm.
So it could have been the art of manipulation. I thought
Right.
that was putting it lightly about what happens
I,
in this book.
I agree. I agree.
And, you know, and I basically, just call a spade a spade.
Mm,
Um, but, when I when I first titled the book,
mm-hmm,
that's what I titled it, right?
mm-hmm.
Well, come on, can I say the title, or you don't want me to say the title? Just so
You can say F word. Because I don't want
I can
I
say
don't want
F
the
word. All
holier
right,
than thou people to turn the station.
no worries, no worries. So it's called The Mind F Word, a true
Right.
false story.
Mm,
And that phrase is not only in the Oxford Dictionary,
mm.
it's also in the Urban Dictionary sites.
Yes.
So that phrase does have some legitimacy to it. And both
Mhm,
definitions I put in the book because I feel both definitions, the it describes the person that I am. You know,
mhm.
um, I do collect degrees like some people collect Pokemon cards, but um, but I, you know, if we need to get dirty, that is a possibility. That is not always the correct route to handle things,
Right, right, right.
but there's always that possibility. Um, but but I just wanted to bare my soul honestly, openly, to be as naked and exposed as possible
Mm,
because this is my opportunity to speak of me and about me and not be relegated to somebody else's narrative
mm,
of me.
mm, mm.
Dr. Maddox, this is Andre. You mentioned that you had a lot of anger behind this. Was writing enough, or did you ever find yourself taking that anger out on the people around you?
Um, that is a great question, and thank you. Um, as far as the anger, um, the one thing that I did not want to do was take the anger out on the people around me and on my friends and family, and also the people that I work with, because as a registered nurse, I deal with a lot of stressful situations. So I had to really control that anger and appease that anger. So I had a lot of mental conferences
Mhm,
with myself but I had to also be honest with myself. My anger was offended by most of my personality, to be honest. My tears really offended my anger. Um, but so I had to make a deal with my anger to where if this is a process that we're going to do as far as the book, we will do it to 110,000,000% of our effort in order to be satisfied, in order to be at peace within ourselves. No, but this process showed my anger. Maybe I should hug my loved ones a little tighter. I did a lot of apologizing to my loved ones. Because they were unfortunately wrapped up into this. When I told my friends the truth about everything, as far as I know, that was going on, the pride was damaged. The pride was damaged. The anger was not digging that because of pride.
Right.
So I had to work with it, and so sometimes I feel like I am Mr. Do Too Much because I do a lot.
You got a lot going on.
It does help the anger. I mean, because with this book, I had 5 commercials done.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that you got a lot going on, because you are a doctor, of chiropractic, a chiropractic doctor, and you are a nurse, and you're still going to school, plus your father and grandfather. How do you do all that? And did that help you manage what you were going
through? What helps me is by staying busy. I don't give my mind time to wonder, time to stress over the negative aspects of everything. Right. I stay busy. I stay to try to improve myself. And throughout all of that chaos, somehow I found a balance to where I can work within that chaos. And that chaos helps to control some of the negative thoughts that would just sit in there and that would just fester and would be no good to anybody. I try to improve myself, try to improve my situation, to try to be a better foundation for my family, to try to be a better friend to my loved ones. And so yes.
Well, you first of all, I guess we want to give people more of a teaser. We've told them in general, what the book is about, but give the listeners sort of a synopsis without, of course, spoiling the book for them.
Okay. Back in bed, 2019, I went online to finally delete all of my multiple online dating accounts. And before I did that, I just wanted to see who was on, and I ran into an old friend that I used to speak to on these dating sites. We rekindled the relationship. She is a psychologist out of the state of Kentucky. this was about 3 or 4 months after the passing of my brother, so I was mentally still dealing with that um, eternally, internally. And she really helped me through that process. She knew how to talk to me. She knew how to break things down, Barney style. Uh, she she felt like a blessing. She truly did felt like a blessing. Um, and I guess I was getting therapy at that time because she knew how to talk to me.
Free therapy. That was the one plus.
So exactly, and she really did, and she really did excite my nerd side, you
Mm,
know, and we got pretty heavy pretty quick. I opened up because I gave my all because I wanted her to give her all. So after a couple of months of dating, we met. We had a nice time. We had a very enjoyable weekend. Some weeks after that, I got that call. I'm pregnant. All
mm,
right. Um, a little while after that was my first communication with her mother. And also around that time, I found out that she was pregnant with twins.
mm,
So as the relationship went on, she is a divorced mother of two in her mid 30s.
mm.
And guess technically, medically, if you're
Mm.
pregnant in your mid 30s, it's technically a geriatric pregnancy.
Right, right.
That, that's so along with that increases the chances of normal pregnancy complications such as preeclampsia and whatnot.
Hmm.
And I know being somebody who is academically driven, I know that drive. I know
Right,
that I have to be captain of every ship that I'm on.
right.
Um, so I also knew that that is a possibility with this young lady. But I also realized, that I have to work within her parameters while staying in my parameters. I want to be the captain. She wants to be the captain. They're going to only be one captain.
Right, right,
So,
right.
I fell back. So time went on. Our communication at times were shaky.
Hmm.
Were shaky. And when there were shaky, complications arose, such as high blood pressure and complications with the pregnancy. But us both being medical professionals, we talked about it, worked it out, trudged on with life, and I started to make plans on
Hmm.
moving up to Kentucky. So we could be a family, to give this an honest shot, you know,
Right.
um, and all this good stuff. So, um, so during all this time, I'm communicating with her mostly through texts and phone calls. I'm in Florida. She's in Kentucky. I'm
Mm.
also communicating with her mother through text. I'm in Florida. She's in Kentucky. The second time I go up there, the visit was a little shorter due
Mhm.
to a family emergency, but I understood. You know, I understood how the importance of family, and you know what? Go handle your business.
Right,
I will be here to
right.
support and all that good stuff. So the next time I was going up was in June of 2020 for the scheduled C-section.
Mm,
I take a plane out from Florida to Lexington, Kentucky, and I turned my phone off. When I turned my phone back on, once I got to the airport, it started to go off like the 4th of July. from
Mm,
this text that I received from her mother.
mm,
She was alerting me of a tragedy that happened with the doctor and
mm,
our twins.
mm,
We unfortunately lost one of the boys,
mm,
and due to massive hemorrhaging, um, the surviving twins, as well as her, they were flown out,
mm,
and she ended up in ICU, and he ended up in NICU.
mm,
Um, so when I got to Kentucky, I was faced with that,
mm.
and I've never personally experienced the loss of a child,
Mm.
but that pain is, yeah, that
I can
that is a
imagine.
that is
I
an
can imagine.
undescribable type of pain.
Right,
I have,
right.
yes, but I have experienced that pain from a
Mhm,
medical provider standpoint, and the first
mhm,
time that I did, that moment that I write about in the book made me a better father. That instantly made me a better father. I stopped being as selfish, thinking that the world was about me. The world evolved around me, and if it did not concern me, it was not important.
right,
But I
right,
never dealt
right.
with that directly. But
Well, I have a
while
question
in
for you.
that, yes,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no,
given
no, it's
everything
totally fine.
that you mentioned, you know, happening to you in the book, and I know
Mhm.
you could only scratch the surface, um, even though you bared your soul. I know that it was probably even worse than what you were able to put pen to paper. How do you think, given what you experienced, relationships, who you connect yourself with, affects a person mentally, physically, emotionally, even spiritually?
Ooh, um,
That's a big one. That's a big question.
wow. How does it? Oh my lord! You
Mm,
know, not to say it can make or break you,
mm.
but it can make or break you. A a relationship can send you to the highest of highs, make you feel like you are invincible, to where you can do everything. And it gives
Mhm,
you that power to know that somebody loves me, somebody believe in me because I am special and I can do it.
mm,
But also they do have that ability to strip your pride,
mm,
to take the essence of you
mm,
and bury it.
mm,
Or first they'll play with it, or
mm,
they'll change it.
mm,
And and some people do it so masterfully that you don't see it coming. You don't recognize until after the damage and the changes have occurred.
mm.
And a lot of times it is hard to rebound from that
Wow.
because it makes you wonder what was real.
Mm,
It makes you question your own beliefs, your own moral compass.
mm, mm.
You mentioned it's hard to rebound from that. I would have had a hard time rebounding from relationship number three. Can you
Right.
tell us about how that happened? This one is someone that you worked with. You said, I think it was baby's mother, number three.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that one more time? I'm having some connection issues.
Okay. I was saying that I would have had trouble rebounding from relationship number three that you mentioned in your book. Can you tell us about that one and how that happened and how that affected you?
I think that's Elijah's mom, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, how did that affect me? Good question. So, by this time, I I was a adult. I've been through enough life experience. Not only was I a veteran, I was a legal veteran. I've been through enough wars in court.
Mm,
But not only that, I was a better parent, and
mm,
I realized the importance of co-parenting.
mm,
We do not have to be together, but our main focus is that child or
mm,
the children,
mm,
you know. And so when I discovered his existence, it was a shock. I don't, but we deal with it during our communication, and she went left on me.
mm,
um I I swallowed it,
mm,
and I was too old, too tired to be going back and forth, arguing and texting and rah, 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 rah.
right.
This child needs a loving mother and a father.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I chose to focus on, was our kid. But I also realized that right now, we can't communicate too well.
Mm,
So
mm,
I decided to let's just go to court. Let's get basic groundwork established to where if there's future issues and we're no longer civil with each other or whatnot, then we can revert back to that, you know. But it is unhealthy and unproductive to be going at each other and all this stuff with all this hate, because we got a kid to raise.
mm, mm,
And so yeah, and but that was 180 degrees different from how I was when I was a younger father. I became a father at 19, at my first
mm,
kid, and I was selfish and acted
mm.
like I was 19. But yeah.
So, talk to us a little bit about the physical changes and the mental changes, because you mentioned in the book stress, you mentioned fear, you mentioned, you know, anxiety. You said literally at one point in the book, when everything came to a head, that you heard an audible pop in your head. Um, and that is astounding. To people say my mind was blown, but to actually hear it be blown is is something altogether different. you know Talk to us about what you were going through in terms of your body, in terms of your mind, and even how it brought you to the brink of kind of changing who you were at that point.
Yes, stutter. um,
Okay.
I've never, huh?
No, you're fine. Go
Uh,
ahead.
I've okay. I've never experienced that before.
Mm,
Um, because I've always tried to be in control of my emotions, the
mm,
good and the bad.
mhm,
But when I heard that audible pop, um, I I, I became fractured.
mm,
I became mentally fractured.
mm,
My my head, inside of my head, became so
mm,
loud. And I was dealing with every single motion ever created, and
mm.
some maybe yet to be created, all at the same time. But all
Right.
of them was filled with rage. They all were yelling, trying to get my attention. And but the ones that, of course, yelled the loudest
Mm-hmm.
was anger.
Mm,
Was anger,
mm.
and all I wanted to do was just something that was pretty.
Yeah, you said you were on your way to Kentucky. You got in the car. You, we all were
Oh
right there
yeah,
with
oh
you.
yeah,
We all were ride or dying with you in that moment.
oh my lord, oh my lord, oh my lord. You know, because it's like at that time, all I could imagine that when the judge is giving me my sentence, it
Mm,
would have been titled 13 hours. You have
wow,
13 hours to change your mind. You had
exactly.
13 hours to do this. You drove 13 hours, because my plan was never coming back to Florida. Ever.
We
Ever.
all, like I said, we all were there with you. It's like she about to die.
Yes. You know. Yes. 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 And and so and so I reached out to some friends, right? So I reached out to some friends, and I just wanted just one friend to co-sign the BS, just
Right,
one to
right,
co-sign the BS,
right.
you know. But the Lord,
Praise
but the
God.
Lord
Praise
was
the Lord.
like, bro,
It ain't worth
the
it.
the one friend who did reach out to me, she is a she's a social worker at the
Mm,
VA,
mhm,
and so she's in the mental field, just like the psychologist. They both share the same first name, and she kept
wow.
saying, what, and I'm explaining to her everything that's going on, because she was aware of the pregnancy and everything. She kept saying, what, and so I'm explaining to her, and she's as dumbfounded as I am,
Mm,
but she would not co-sign to the BS.
right, right, right.
She was like, Lance, you need to go check yourself in as a psych
Mm,
crisis to the VA.
wow. Wow.
And I'm trying to argue that. I'm trying to argue that because that is not what I want to hear at this particular moment in time.
But you needed to hear it. Oh, look, we all would have needed to hear that because we were all with you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, on the pages, we would have been right in Kentucky with you. So I'm glad you
Yes.
went to the VA instead.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes,
What was that like?
but um that that was tough because first I had convinced anger,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
So I'm mentally preparing what I'm gonna tell my mother and my kids about why I'm never coming home again and why I did what I did, but it came to my little boy
Right.
who was
Right.
9 at the time, right?
Hmm.
And trying to trying to think about the conversation I will have to have with him about why I cannot help him to prom
Mm,
because
mm,
I'm locked up for the rest of my life
mm.
because I let
Wow.
them get the best of me.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Right.
That broke me.
Right.
That broke me.
Mm.
So I felt that day he took God's form, or God used
Mm.
him. And
Mm.
he
That's
put him in front of me and was like, I'm gonna need you to concentrate on him.
right. 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 Right.
So I drove down to the VA, and then it was hard because to check myself in and to tell
Mm.
them what happened, I felt weak.
Mm.
I felt
Mm. That's the black
masculine.
community for
My
you.
pride was damaged.
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
and you know, and then it's weird because I can take physical harm.
Mm-hmm.
I can take it, I'm thick skinned and roll with it, but it's that mental. I
Mm-hmm.
felt less masculine. I felt like I'm coming in because somebody hurt my feelings,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and there was a war up in my head. Good Lord, there was a war up in my head. And but they recognized it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
it was
know,
amazing. In the book, the doctor said,
but
"Are
they
you
recognized it.
suicidal?" The doctor said, "Are you suicidal?" You said, "No." Then he said, "Are you homicidal?" And we all were like, "Yes."
Do you really want to know?
That's you hit the nail on the head, Doc. That's what this is about. Either you gonna lock me up or the popo gonna
Mhm.
lock me up. But somebody,
You know,
somebody's
yes,
gonna have to lock me up for a minute. So
that
you
part.
know
You
that
know, yes.
I think that's a spiritual. I mean, don't get me wrong. It takes you. It is definitely messing with you emotionally and mentally. But to go from being a person who loves people enough not to want to take their lives to the exact opposite, that's a spiritual thing to me. You When you go all the way to hate and you want to take somebody's life, that's somebody messing with your spiritual side. And it seemed to me that that's what she did, that she touched you at your core. Would that be a fair assessment?
No, no, no. I think you hit the nail on the head because to have me experience the loss of a child
Mm,
and to sit there and watch me crumble
mm,
and just watch
mm,
and then leave me and then drop me off on the side of the road and just leave me
mm,
as though I was not worth anything. You know, there was zero gratitude given, there
mm,
was no respect.
mm,
And also to involve my family.
mm, mm, mm.
Oh, Jesus. To involve my family. Now, that right there, you know what I'm saying? Because come at
Right,
me all you want. I'm cool with that.
right.
But do not involve my family. You
Mhm,
know,
mhm.
oh, geez, that part.
Like I said, we were there with you, bro. We were there.
Yes.
Did
Yes.
you want to say something, babe? Did I get in the way of you asking a question?
No, it's okay. Because I think she had a relationship with one of your daughters, didn't she? They chatted online or something like that.
Yes. So when she was pregnant, my daughter was also pregnant with my second grandbaby. So
Mm,
they became like little pregnant buddies. So
mm,
they used to talk on Instagram or Twitter, you know, and all that. And then not only that, but I one day I had her on the phone and I handed my mom the phone and
mm,
she, you know, gave my mom the news of the babies being twins, boys.
mm, mm,
You know, she gave that news personally to my mother.
mm,
And it was the doctor's suggestion to name the boys, the twin boys, after me and my brother.
mm, mm.
You know,
Wow.
so yeah, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is the thing that gets me. After this online dating fiasco is not, that's too kind. I don't know what to say it was. What at the end of the book, you say you've taken professional photos and you are out there again, online dating. It- How? I don't think I could do it. I just don't think
Well,
at least not
you
that
know,
way.
I was out there for a brief moment, and
Okay.
this is why.
Okay.
I know, I feel not every woman is like this woman.
Right.
So for this to be my last experience,
Okay.
I did not want that to happen.
Right.
I felt that there was good people out there, but right now I am skeptical, um, and all that, to where I'm like, you know what, she has to be one of a kind,
Mm.
you know, because
If
I
there's
do
another one
believe
out
she's
there like
good,
that, mercy.
you know.
Woo.
Oh Jesus Christ! Ooh. I mean, because the
Mm.
crazy thing about it is, these type of people are so masterful to where the damage they cause isn't physical,
Right. Right.
but your reaction to their damage normally isn't a physical reaction, like
Mm.
violence, to where
Mm.
now you have to deal with your violent actions. And once the court start dealing with your violent actions, whatever they did becomes null and void.
Mm.
It doesn't matter what they did, it matters what you did,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
Right.
And they just skip off into the sunset, you know?
Right.
I mean, honestly, because this may sound extreme, but let's call a spade a spade. Charles Manson never directly killed anybody.
Nope. But he talked some people into doing it. He really
Yes,
did.
yes,
Hmm. Hmm.
yes. So yeah, and ooh, ooh,
To this
you
to this
know,
day, you're still at a loss
um,
for words. To this day, you're still at a loss for
I
words
mean, because
about
you know why? Because yes, ma'am. Because even to this day, I don't think the total truth has been revealed, to be
it.
honest. I think there's
Wow.
still more, you know, and yeah, you know. So
Did you want to ask
yeah.
him something? Um, I gotta say, when I was reading the book, you mentioned that you were getting free therapy, and I got the impression, I'm like, he's been through a lot, he's hurting, and I was thinking that maybe that was the attraction because she was a therapist. You did have a lot of pain and a lot of hurting. You even mentioned at one point, which she tried to use against you later on, that you'd had a relationship and you were engaged, and it hurt so badly when you two broke up that you ended up um having some mental health issues and seeking help for that. Um Given everything that you went through with her, what do you want people to take from this, in terms of how to protect yourself from a relationship that can do you in that way? And let me preface that question with this. um my husband and I talked about this last time, but we were explaining to our oldest son, who's about to go off to college, about relationships and how when you are in a relationship with somebody, no matter what, you are inviting whatever they're dealing with into your life. Whoever they are, you are inviting all of that into your life, and whatever's connected to them is being invited into your life too, whether you want it to be or not. That's just the way that it is. Because he was, dating this young lady, and he was telling us about her, and we were like, okay, those are all kinds of red flags. Way too many red flags. So good indication that the two of you do not need to see each other again. And he was like, but that's her stuff. I'm like, no, if you invite her into your life, it's going to become your stuff too on some level. And so we were trying to teach him, that while nobody is perfect, you want to steer clear of, if you can smell the smoke and you can see the fire, let's not go towards that, go the other way. So what do you want people to take away from this book, from your experience, in order, is it to protect themselves? Is it just, a cautionary tale about online dating? What, I know it was for your healing first and foremost, but for people like them, who are reading, what do you hope they get or learn from the experience?
Know yourself. Be honest with yourself. Cherish your strengths, but also recognize your weaknesses. Be honest with yourself. Truly be honest with yourself, and be honest with others. But do not hesitate to live. I believe you cannot recognize good if you don't know what bad looks like. So there is no greater teacher than life. And maybe sometimes you have to see what is bad in order to know, okay, this is bad. This poison looks attractive.
Right.
But it's poison.
Right.
And so just that little taste of poison, then you realize, you know what, let me stay away from this. And then, because once you find that good, you will recognize it, you will cherish it more, because it means so much more, because you realize, oh my Lord, the qualities that you bring are amazing. But
final question.
But that's, yes.
We only have a few minutes left, so I'm gonna let my husband have the last word.
Has it gotten better for you dating? Are you still dating online? And is it better?
Dating in person compared to dating online?
Well, either one. I mean, is it?
Honestly, I think it depends on your schedule. There are some pros and cons to dating online. Because sometimes you can take it slower. That's a pro. But the con is it makes it a little bit easier to be deceived. Also,
I think so too. I think
in person, there is also that deception, because there's a lot of wickedness floating out there.
Even it's so much easier online. So much easier online.
Yes. You
got to work for it in person.
You got to work for it in person. Then also, I think, yes, but you also have to work for it, I think, also online too, because if the person that you feel that you love is like 10 states away, is it worth that travel? Is it worth the time out of my life? Is it worth the financial costs out of, to like, let's meet or possible move, But it's,
unfortunately, we are out of time. We are so out of time. We are running up on Teen Talk True time. But good news is, folks, if you love this interview, it will keep rolling, because the teens are going to give you their perspective in just a moment. But before we go, tell everybody how they can get your book. And remember, we got to censor the title. And how they can follow you on social media.
Yes. You can get my book on everywhere that books are sold online. Amazon.com, Target.com, Walmart.com, BarnesandNobles.com. Also, I'm on the social. My social name is Polite AF. I'm on TikTok. I'm on the Facebook. I'm on the Twitter, the Instagram, all of those. Polite AF. Um, yes, I'm trying to get it in the stores, but right now you can get it online. It is a good read right now. 5 out of 5 stars on Amazon. Yeah,
Mm,
it's a
awesome.
good read.